Let's start back over. I'm sorry about that. Little delay. Sorry about that, Anchor. D-Boy at West Coast Uncensored. How's everybody doing? You know, I thought about this after last week, and man, the lack of this has really made much sports going on, right? I mean, there really isn't. Um, Let me just checking things here. There just really isn't much stuff going on. You know what I mean? There just really isn't. There's not. The NBA's down. It's supposed to be heading towards our playoff run. Baseball's supposed to be getting us jacked up for this Thursday, I believe. This next coming Thursday is supposed to be opening day here. It's been pushed back to 6 weeks from then, at the earliest. Hockey, we're not ending the season for the ice run heading for the Stanley Cup. This is not happening. We didn't have much. All we got from the NFL. We got a draft, which was interesting and kept us going. And then we were given empty arena shows from the two organizations that definitely have kept things going in professional wrestling. MLW has closed its doors. They have announced till June. Indie shows here in Los Angeles, I was supposed to be heading to one this same week. It's been closed. It's not happening. PCW is not happening. So, you know, somebody had got on some social media and said, kind of put down the shows that went on in empty arenas comparative to the other shows who had announced to close down and try to compare them. And there really isn't any comparison. MLW, whatever the call with them, I really like MLW. They don't have a television contract that is requiring them, that's paying them big money to run their TV shows. That is the most lucrative thing for them, is to get paid from the TV station that's gave them. That's not happening. The only two is WWE, who's running empty arenas at their place, and AEW, who ran an empty arena show at their place. Daily Place is actually the home of where their offices are, and their football stadium. They own the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they have a place called Daly's Place, which is actually like a theater concert venue that holds about close to 6,000, like 5,500. And they ran a summer event there. It's really a nice place. It's really really nice for TV. It's just different. And the Cons own that, who own AEW. They own that place. So from what we gather, the two places and the two buildings in Florida, that both places that AEW and WWE own, are in Florida. But here's the thing. They have contracts that are getting paid money from Fox and from TNT, and also from not just Fox, but USA Network, which is a subsidiary of NBC. To get the money, they got to put on a show. TNT, they got to put on the show. They are nothing in the same conversation. So somebody was there and was just really making a big deal. And it was like, guy, when you're going to come up with something, you need to know the facts before you say something. They're almost obligated, and they don't want to lose that. So they both put on a show. They both put on, the AEW's only did the one show last Wednesday. I believe there's been 2 or 3 WWE shows, and that's kind of what's happened. But through media and through podcasting and through the wrestling media and through the wrestling reporter, there is something that they all agree on, because it's not close, that the show that AEW put on last week in an empty seat arena got over so well and is now critically acclaimed for being one of the best Dynamites yet, but one of the best shows that Dynamite has had. But how well it was done with an empty arena, and what did they do to get on a show that's difficult to do because you don't have the energy of the crowd, you don't have that, which is huge. You can't play to the crowd if you're a wrestler, which is huge. Good wrestlers know how to play to crowds and get reactions, and you didn't have that aspect that nobody really is used to doing in these forms of these two, especially WWE. Some of the guys who are younger and who have wrestled indies have wrestled in places where there's nobody there. They did. I mean, where there could be anywhere from 100 people to 50, even 10, 5. But this was an empty arena show. And the critical acclaim that came to AEW compared to WWE. WWE just ran another one on Friday, and it just really, from what I hear, that it was good by some people, it was okay. But by many others, it just didn't lead into what they needed to do, and they were having difficulty. And my gosh, when you can see somebody else does something good and you don't make the change and don't listen to your fans because you don't want to follow something else because the other person did it first, man, I just don't get that. It just don't make a lick of sense. But that's what happened from what I hear. It wasn't good, but the AEW Wednesday night show, the one I did watch, was one of their best shows, and for the situation that they were in with everything going on, with all the pandemic talk and all this, what are some of the things? And I kind of wrote down, I got some reasons why they had success for what they did that night and why they had success and what they did. Why did they keep the wrestling? That by the second match, I forgot that it was an empty arena because they had my attention in the match. Somebody the week before, when questioning before the show went on, questioned Cody Rhodes on Twitter and said, how do you run a show and keep storylines on when you're before an empty arena? What is the purpose? Why would you do that? And I'm thinking to myself, dude, why wouldn't you do it? It's kind of common sense. You need to keep the storylines because you need to keep pushing, and you need to keep pushing to the places that you're going to go and get to it. This is what wrestling is supposed to be. I mean, I'm just really thinking that the people who have came and have seen what we've been presenting for the last number of years, that have watched scripts torn up multiple times on a Monday night, meaning if your scripts are being torn up on a Monday night, you do not have long-term booking and storytelling. And they've got used to having no booking and no storytelling, throwing together a story, and then 2 weeks later get a payoff. And they've been so used to that microwave wrestling that just like what microwaves does to your food, takes all the nutrients out of it because you radiate it. Come on now. Just real with you. That's what's been happening to your wrestling. And that's all you've been eating and all you're knowing is that. Of course, Cody came back and told them why they needed to do it in a very, very, very calm, very, very professional way. He did it. I came across like that because I just was like, wow. But anyways, that's what they did. One of the things they did. So they played to an empty arena crowd at Daly's Place in the city of Jacksonville, Florida, on the campus. I shouldn't call it a campus. It's not a school. But on the place that they own, and they have their offices in for their owning of a professional football team called the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Daly's Place is the place that they had this event. And I do believe, even though we haven't been formally told, that they will be doing that again. This is the place they will be, similar to where WWE's at their Performance Center. They will be at their place at Daly's Place doing another empty seat Dynamite, fulfilling their obligation to TNT, which somewhat's good. Why is it good? Because there's nobody else giving you live events out there because there's no sports. Could you, and could they may, cut this down, prevent the traveling back and forth by doing multiple weeks of pre-tape TV for weeks and weeks? And yes, they could. But I think they're going to try to make this live again and I think they're going to make this live again. So really what happened was Cody came out, cut his promo about the situation and how everybody's in the situation that they are in and how they need to come to unity and together, and how and I'm kind of just really quickly going through this. I'm not going to go word for word. And he said he refused to live in fear, but he was here to give the people what they needed, something to escape, something to be satisfied, something to get the mind off all the negativity that was happening to him. So he quickly jumped to the unity of us working together as a people, not just globally, but globally, but as a small us working together, coming together in unification, that we'd be a great situation that we can come together and we can conquer anything we do. And then he went on to, he would refuse to live in fear, but he refused to live in any kind of fear, because living in fear is not living. I thought that was a great promo. And then he turned that around to the real life event and put it in the storyline with his relationships, what's happening to the elite through recent and through since they've been to AEW, the lack of cohesiveness, them as a group, and all that stuff. And he was able to put that into a formula along with the real life thing happening. He put the real life thing. That's freaking dynamic, and 40 writers can't write that. That's creative from the flow of your very essence. Not having somebody write that's only trying to make one person happy. So what they did was they wrote that storylines were kept in, tied that into what was happening tonight, which would be fulfilled tonight, which would be very much part of the storyline, this very match. This is one of the reasons that this was one of the most, it's critically acclaimed. This is one of the best, not just Dynamite having, and one of the things about Dynamite in the past that everybody's just like really notices in the media is that the Dynamite crowd is fire every week. They're just a whole different level of fire every week. They are fired up. That crowd is on fire. They don't sit on their hands. They don't sit waiting. They're not bored with the product. They support the product and they're on fire. This was a very, 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 very good promo to cut in, to lead, to take us to the reality of what's going on with everybody, but take us into a unity, how we come together, and then transforming that right into, now you can escape into what we're doing tonight, into the storyline of wrestling. We're going to give you 2 hours of great entertainment so you can forget and escape for 2 hours from really what's happening in the real world, and we're going to give you that. And they didn't sit up there and from what I understand, like I've said many times, I don't watch the other product. I choose not to. I have my reasons, and if you've listened to past videos, there's no reason for me to continue being negative. Thank you, right back. But truth is truth at times. For me, I've said it many times. It was perfect. It cut to the chase, and then he brought in the storyline. He would bring in Omega and Paige and that, and continue through the storyline. That was one of the things. It allowed us to escape. By keeping the storylines, it keeps you guessing and looking forward to what they're doing, because this is long-term booking. This is the way wrestling was done in the past, because this is the foundation of wrestling. Like I said, if you go back and listen to one of my videos from way back, I have one video about that on Spotify and Anchor. Because not only am I here on this platform of YouTube, thank you, YouTube people. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you. Just hit my like and subscribe. Man, make me happy. Listen to me every week, because besides this, I bring NBA and MLB, and there's not much of it now. There's not much to talk about. I will continue doing wrestling, which right now is continuing to have stuff going on. So yeah. So one they kept the storylines alive. Lets us escape. And by doing that, it lifted us up. It was thoroughly entertaining and had our attention, as many people thought it was the best Dynamite of all. And one of the biggest things about Dynamite that people notice is the crowd reaction. The crowd reaction that they get. The energy at an AEW show is continually there. And that's one of the big things that everybody notices, that the energy is brought. One of the big things that they did, that I guess from what I understand was not done on the other show, was creative juices, baby. And this is when you still can do this, and your organization is built around bringing professional wrestling, and it's just not a big conglomerate organization just to make money. Left the foundation to do what you want to do, and you've left the foundation and you really don't care. I mean, that's why I can't, like I said, because I know what wrestling's supposed to be. When I was seeing that it's not, I don't go to bad restaurants, man. If I go to bad restaurants once, shame on the restaurant. If I go again, shame on me. Take responsibility. I don't do that. So that's why I can't tell you. It's my personal thing. I've said I don't watch the product that goes with it. I don't do. I can go hood, baby. I don't. I'm not. I just don't do that. I don't go to things I don't enjoy. And you know, there's a whole story. I've given that whole story. Why? I don't. And the whole story, you know, makes sense. But then this is what they did. They put the wrestlers around the ring. They put the heels on one side and the baby faces on one. It was dynamic because in the interviews this worked out, because when they did this, the very first interview was with MJF. MJF and Sean Spears were. Sean had Tully, his manager, his coach, Wardlow, with MJF, but they were betting on the matches and even had money in their hands and betting the matches, and they were even talking, and they were asking Tony Schiavone, and Tony played perfectly in it, even to the fact they said, you want to get in this, and when the camera was leaving after the interview, and both of them goes, what you guys got, what you guys going, I mean, just perfectly. Schiavone played, Tony's perfect. Tony's like it. Tony is becoming, he's been a great announcer, and that's what he always did, but now his interviews coming, he's almost like Mean Gene. He's coming across, and Mean Gene can make anybody look good. This is old school stuff, the way it was supposed to be done. Mean Gene will make you look good. Keeping wrestlers at the ring and having them active like a crowd through the whole show. Verbally loud, cheering, betting, money, heels on one side, baby faces on the other. This was dynamic and got over well. Part of why this show was so good. They were loud, they interacted, and they kept it going. Another one of the other reasons was when the promos were cut, they had some great promos. They looked into the hard camera, which is the camera facing you. From what I gather, like I said, from what I gather and was told from the first, before that the other show, that they were playing like it was a full arena and we're not talking hard in the camera, and they kept referencing that nobody, and they had the lights on empty seats so that the crowd could see nobody was there, and they kept referencing over announcing, and the wrestlers kept referencing that nobody was there. AEW did not do that. They cut the lighting down on the seats. They cut the lighting down on all the seating, except where the heels and the baby faces were surrounded and around the ring, going to 1 to 2 rows deep. Wherever the lighting was, the whole arena was not lit up. Everything was kept in the ring and just around the ring. From what I understand, they did not do that. And that from what I understand, the AEW, every promo cut was looking into the hard camera and cutting the promo into the camera, because the only one that's watching is the TV audience. That there's nobody there. That professional, from what I gather. The very first SmackDown, they were doing it like they're playing to a crowd, and it just did not go over good. From what I heard from other people that I trust and know what they're talking about, who watch it. Like I said, I didn't watch it, so I can't say I experienced it or seen it. But people I know, many people I know, said the same thing. That this is what happened. In fact, they said that only one person on that first SmackDown show done in an empty crowd that looked into the camera. The only one that looked into the camera and kept it into the hard camera was Edge. That he's the only one. Even the wrestlers now didn't. They were playing into the crowd. And the only one that did was Edge. And the one that surprised him who didn't and played too like there was a crowd there was Stone Cold. And that was surprising to them. It's surprising to me if that's so. Stone Cold knows better because he's an old school. He wrestled in small crowds. He knows how the TV tapings are done. But Edge was the only one. Everybody in every promo cut and every interview cut looked straight into the camera, into the crowd, because the crowd was the TV crowd within the nation or even in the world that AEW or TNT was serving. That's what they did on every promo, and they cut it like AEW. Here's the AEW's promos. Bullet points, take us home. Be creative, come out of your essence, take us home, cut a promo. Not the I just keep referring, not the script writing crap. I just crap to the crap is high. It just, I just bunk. That's all I gotta say. But anyways, they didn't. This is one of the reasons. This is why the show's critically acclaimed, because the things they did. The promos were cut into the hard camera, into the camera looking in the face, because the only audience was TV land audience. Superlative job well done. This was done perfectly. This is another reason why they had set this up to not fail. And then another thing that really, the last thing that really got this over really well was this was supposed to take part in New York, this last Rochester, the home of Brody Lee. This was where he was going to debut. This is his home, and it was in AEW's, first New York area Dynamite in Brody Lee's hometown. He was going to make his debut. They still debuted him in this empty arena, and guess what? It got over. I was amazed at the vignette cut. That was a live vignette with him. No, it probably wasn't. It was vignette was him, because he amazingly got into the ring when the vignette went over and the others were there, that he was cutting a vignette on, and they showed the vignette and showed that, because if you looked at the thing, which I went over the review, they've been denying that the Dark Order there was no exalted one. Brody Lee came in and was there, and the thing is, because I didn't watch the thing, I've never seen Brody Lee. All I know is what I've heard. And when Arn Anderson tells me, and some of the other people who I know that know wrestling trust, that say this guy's a good performer, and everything I know and I've heard about him, he was held back. He wasn't given chances. And all those who are out there saying, oh, AEW's picking up old WWE, and that ain't true. Stop. Quit running game, because you can't run game on people no game. Come on now. You can't. It comes dummy bill. The real reason he was held back by them. He got a lot of juice left. And now he'll be able to, and then he cut a promo and I go, because my question was, and a lot of people even said, does he really fit the Dark Order in everything that he was in his character in the past? And some people said, no. I have no problem that he's Dark Order, the way he cut his promo, the way he looked, the way he dressed. He's gonna make it happen. I can see it already. This was fitting. It's going to end up being a home run, and anybody that comes from there that has not been able to cut promos because of the way that everything's done by writing and there's really no promos cut. Brody Lee's promo was fire, and that the promos, hard camera, look in the promos, then he kicked butt on SCU, and that's how he debuted. And that debut, if that was the only debut. And here's the thing is, taking a chance to debut when you were supposed to debut, but with everything that changed, you did not change the debut day, even though it was not in Rochester. You said, we're going to go ahead and make this debut good, even in it takes a lot of guts, but it's also a lot of confidence, because you know that you could still get it over, and it hit the ball into the left field pavilion, and guess what? The bases were loaded, and it was the bottom of the ninth, and you're down by 3, so the game's over. That's what happened. And Brody Lee, anybody comes from WWE, I got to stake a step. Can you cut promos? Because if and I know Jericho could, and I know Matt Hardy could, because I know Matt Hardy. They come from a time when they cut promos, and then Jericho, and then, of course, Matt Hardy had sometimes he left where he cut promos in other places. And plus the old days when he did cut promos, when he was there, when you could cut promos there, because there was a time you could. So I knew he could. I didn't know Brody Lee could, but then Brody Lee's promo was fire, and he's going to get to elevate his game, because he's going to be allowed to cut promos now. So he'll take his game to the next level, because he's promos. So the debuts, the promos, the hard cameras, the promos into the hard cameras, the wrestlers around the ring, and taking the real life situation that we're all in, and then putting in the storyline of elite situation. Diamonds, wrestling the way it's supposed to be done. And all the people that have their criticism of, they don't have big guys. Guess what? They got big guys. It's about being patient and waiting. This popcorn stuff of microwave generation of, I want my payoff in 2 weeks is ludicrous. That's not the way wrestling's done. When you tell me you're tearing up storylines on Monday for a Monday night show 30 minutes before it starts, I know you don't have storylines. because that would make a difference. You would just change the promo. You wouldn't change the storyline. Some folks know, maybe not experienced, but know that when you come out, you've left the foundation. They went back to, now Brody Lee gets the experience. He made his debut. And then they not only did they open arena or empty arena debut, they didn't just do one. They ended up at the main event doing two. Matt Hardy ends up being a partner with the Elite, who lost the match, the main event, and the Elite now who opened talking about their faults and failures and lack of chemistry and the problems within each other. And then they end the show after Cody comes in, cuts a promo that they need to come together and come to unity, and then they falter at the main event and they're at the same place they were at the beginning, and then they get hope. Matt Hardy's debut was the perfect time to finish out the 5-person Elite in this Blood and Guts, which again is War Games, that he will be that 5th person. So it's now even Steven and how many members you got. It's not 4 against 5, it's 5 against 5. Matt Hardy joins the Elite, cuts a promo, perfect promo, definitely broken Matt, has his drone come in, and as his drone comes in, if anybody's paying attention to Matt, you knew what it was. It would have been great for all these to be in front of a crowd, but to get it over in an empty arena, and then it was critically acclaimed. This is a great show. This is how you do arena, empty seats arena. And then you have the empty seat arena, and all what I've heard is the empty seat arena by the other show has not really been good. And then they follow up with the show 2 days later, empty arena. Here's not good, because you have so much pride instead of borrowing, saying, let us just do what they did to make this good. You have so much pride because you can't do that. That's all Vinnie Mac. I'm sorry, just Vinnie. But let him keep burying himself, because this ain't 1989. This ain't 1987. This ain't 1995 anymore. When you leave the foundation, I have to just reiterate, because it's so real to me, it comes back to you. No matter how much the game changes, from wrist locks and arm bolts to high spots, still there's a foundation of it that you have to get over. Just like the NFL doesn't, just like I said before, you have analytics in baseball. Guys don't pitch 9 innings like they did back in the day. They don't pitch complete games. The bullpen is as important as the starters. But guess what? If you don't field and you don't hit and you don't pitch well, the foundation is you're just not going to win. The foundation's still the same. If you don't do these certain things foundationally well in any of the sports, even though as much as the sports dynamics can change of how it's played, quarterbacks that move and quarterbacks that throw 40 times a game, devalued running backs don't carry the ball in general. There's a few teams that do, but it used to be a game of 3 yards in a cloud of dust. If you had a guy that can carry 25 to 30 times, you hold ball control and you win the game. It's not how it's really played anymore. It just isn't. But the foundation, if you block well, tackle well, if you tell stories along with the new way that they wrestle with the high spots and a lot of athleticism and new moves, and learn to add that with the foundation of it, it will get over. When you leave the foundation, if you leave the foundation of promos, you've cut your leg off, and you're I'm just going to be honest, you're a 3-legged table, man. You're a 3-legged table if you don't know, if you cut promos outside of giving the guys bullet points and let them show their ability to cut promos. You're a 3-legged table. You've cut off the leg of that guy by giving him a script and taking away his promo ability. You've cut the foundation off that table. You've made that a 3-legged table, and a 3-legged table will not stand. That's just the truth, bottom line. If you know wrestling, that's one of the things when I came back and started looking at it. That's promos. Because I left. Go look back, hear my story. It's not about my story, but this was a critically acclaimed that gave you 2 great debuts that you were satisfied with in an empty arena. Even though we know they would have popped. Rochester would have popped for Brody Lee. Rochester would have. What would have happened if it would have popped for Matt Hardy? But it popped still for everybody because it was a critically acclaimed. The foundation of things I said were put in here by the way it was laid from the beginning, and they never emphasized the empty arena. They didn't keep reiterating we're in an empty arena. The wrestlers came around ringside and got very loud and boisterous and actually got in the storylines and interviews and in talking and actually was able to get in the match in certain ways and actually got their characters over, because they're not. This is another thing. Just because you wrestle doesn't mean you can't get your character over. They got their characters over. So, man, from West Coast Uncensored, this is D-Boy. Yes, AEW delivered a dynamite of dynamites with the empty seat. And guess what? Most say it's critically acclaimed. You guys have a great day from West Coast Uncensored. Real quick, hit me up on westcoastuncensored.com. Hit me up on it. Watch, I got videos there. I got all kinds of stuff going there. I got some old videos. I got some new videos. I got some, I'm going to add some videos. I'm going to try to add some, I hope PCW doesn't mind. I'm going to add some of the stuff I took at their shows. If they don't mind, I'm going to add it to it. But anyways, PCW, I got some other stuff there. I have a lot of stuff there. I got some good videos that I cut here. Getting ready to add my logo. Got some things going with that. Got my website, westcoastuncensored.com, my website. Hit me up. If you got a business and you want your business promoted, I'll put it on my website. Not only that, whatever you want to do and work out a deal, we'll put it for $10 a month. $10 a month. We'll continually do that. And I'll advertise also on my podcast, do a commercial you want to do. I'll even do it. westcoastuncensored.com. This is D-Boy. You guys have a great day.